Hi, I'm Kimberly Jentzen, and I'm so excited to share with you one of my actors. She's a series regular on Home Before Dark. Her name is Aziza Scott. Her performance is wonderful. Please do check it out. It's on Apple. And here's our interview. Hello, Aziza.
Hi, Kimberly.
So tell me a little bit just about how you got into acting.
Well, I've been acting since I was a little girl. I've always been moved by the imagined world. And when my dad actually interviewed me when I was 4, and he asked what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I don't think I knew how to say the word actress, but I knew how to say movie star. So I was like, movie star. And yeah, it's been my pursuit since I was little. I would do talent shows as a kid. I would do poetry, or I did all of the plays. And then I did plays in high school, and then I went to Prairie View A&M University, HBCU. I studied theater. So, I mean, it's always been a passion of mine to tell stories and to make people feel. It's been a beautiful journey.
I wonder, how did you find me?
You know what? Okay, so I found you. A friend of mine, I think she did an audit or something with you, and she was raving about you. I had been in LA a few years, and I hadn't found a really great acting class, and she was talking about you. But the problem was I didn't have any money. So when she said your name, I looked you up online, and I saw a few of your YouTube videos, and you were basically giving free lessons online. So I said to myself, well, there you go. I'll just take her class for free. Whatever she posts online, I'll implement it in my acting until I can afford to actually take her class or take your class. So that's what I did. So for a few months, I would always check to see if you posted something new, and I would try to implement with a friend. And then I believe you had an intensive coming up, and I took your class. I took that intensive. I think it was like 2 days, maybe
3 days, I think.
days. I think it was okay, three
Way
days,
back in the days,
like
when we
4 or 5 hours.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was like
And
hours and hours.
it was hours and hours.
Days that
Yes.
we
Yes. And something that I purchased your emotional card.
oh, these life emotion cards.
Yes. So before I took your class, I purchased that because I'm not sure if you mentioned it on one of your YouTube videos, but I got my hands on your cards, and I would invite my friends over, and of course my friends in the industry, or my friends that act, and we would play some games. I'll make up some games, and we'll just like try to emote, those whatever the card said. So we'll try to implement those emotions, and it was fun. So when I actually got a chance to be in your class, I was so excited because for the last few months, you were like my teacher on YouTube.
That's great. That's
Yeah, so
great.
that's a fun little story. You were already my teacher before we met. So
That's so wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. I love to hear that. It's so fun. Um, you have grown so much, and it's so wonderful how much you've blossomed.
thank you.
Tell me about some of your breakthroughs in the business.
Well, so I want to say my first role on TV. Well, I had just finished doing a play. I did a play called The Preface of an Alien Garden. And I believe I came to you. I think I ran like a monologue with you. So I remember after that play, because I was the lead of it.
I remember working it with you. I remember working on
Yeah, yeah. I've got really great feedback from that play. And I was so scared of that character because she was completely opposite of me. So when I think we worked on it for about 6 months, and then when we put the play up, I was very proud of myself, and I was like, okay, I need to do more. I have to do more. I got an agent, and well, actually, let me rewind a little bit. I was watching a friend on TV and I was telling my roommate, oh man, that could be us one day. That could be us. And she looked at me and she was like, what are you talking about? You could do that right now. Like, you could be on TV, Aziza. And she was like, stop. She was like, you kind of always make it seem like it's a fantasy, like it's not actually tangible. She was like, ugh. And then she just walked away. But that was a turning point for me. And when she told me that, I hadn't yet joined your class, but I had been watching your videos online. But when she said that to me, I realized that fear was holding me back. And I just didn't know where to start. I didn't know how to break into the industry. I didn't have any connections. But when she said that I could do that, I was like, oh, I'm in my own way. So then I made it my mission to do something about it. So at the time I was waitressing, and I picked up some extra shifts so I can have enough money to take your class. And then I started, and then I took your class, and I was in that play, and then it just I was building confidence within myself. And I realized within acting, it takes a great amount of confidence, because when you're confident in yourself as the tool, as the vessel, then you allow yourself to make more choices. The journey is the best part, right? It's the best part. So I quit my job on Sunday. Sunday was fine. I was like, okay, I can do this. Monday, it didn't really bother me because I'm usually off on Mondays. And then Tuesday rolled around and I got so nervous. I said, what did I do? What did I do? I don't have a job. And I got an audition on Wednesday. This is the same week I quit. Got an audition on Wednesday. Went to that audition. Got a call on Friday that I booked it. I booked Murder in the First with Taye Diggs. And it was my very first on-screen gig, because I had done a lot of theater before then, in shorts and independents, but nothing like SAG worthy. So once I booked that, I knew that was a sign that I was on the right path. And then the journey just continued on, and then I booked some more, and then I learned that the industry it's ebbs and flows. Life is a journey, and it teaches you. And I'm still learning that I pay attention to what's happening to me, because it's only a building muscle.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you. I'm so grateful. I feel like gratefulness is like it's so meaningful and important in this industry, just to be grateful for. It doesn't matter if I book a co-star, a guest star, a series reg, or supporting actors in the film. Like every milestone is important, and it's the gratefulness, and it's always you're learning along the journey. So I booked Insecure with Issa Rae. And when I booked that one, I had a conversation with Issa. She's the nicest, sweetest human being ever. That was also a turning point, I feel, in my career, because I booked a co-star with her. And she told me, she was like, you're good, right? I was like, me? She was like, yeah, I saw your tape. She was like, I picked you. I said, you saw my audition tape? She said, I am the producer of the show. And I said, oh yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah. And she said to me, she said, are you ready for your series regular? And I was like, yeah, that'd be cool. But I'm happy with like all the co-stars that I get. She was like, are you ready for your series reg? And just a few months after that, I booked my first series reg. It was like,
what did you book it on? Tell everyone.
I booked an Apple original called Home Before Dark. It's about a 12-year-old precocious young reporter, and she uncovers a murder in the town. And I play first season the deputy that helps her unravel certain cases and things like that. And then the second season, I get promoted to sheriff, and then I have my character goes through her own hero's journey, I guess, of being in a position of leadership and in dealing with adversity and racism. The show really did touch on a lot of things that we face in the world, a young girl and then a Black woman in the position of power. So
before we go on, I have to remind you, remember when you were doing essence work with me way back?
yes.
And remember all the work we were doing, and remember how you were really like hard on yourself?
Yes.
And I want everyone to know this woman who is in front of me. And I remember giving you pep talks, and I remember knowing, I knew you were going to do something powerful and wonderful.
You did, Kimberly. I remember you would talk to me, and I remember I would bring certain projects to you, unsure of myself. Like, what do you think about this? And you would see it and you would be like, yes. And if there was something that I could improve on, we did work on that, you know? So I do remember those moments, and I'm so grateful for those moments.
Well, I'm honest.
Yeah, you are. You are completely honest. Yes.
So with honesty comes, sometimes the truth is hard to swallow, but it's important that you do it so that you can move, you can move forward. Because if you
Yeah.
don't get the truth, or you just hold on to a false idea of what is going on, you're then stuck, and you're going to stick there. You're not going to, the train can't move.
Yeah. And no one's there to tell you that, there's improvement to be made, and that's, yeah, please be honest with me.
Always.
Please always be honest, because I am loyal to growth. Like, growth is one of the most important things.
That was just so awesome to see. Look at how far, how the things that you weren't even certain about have totally come into fruition. So,
Yeah.
so excited. Tell me your favorite character so far.
Oh, my favorite character. I've played a few. Well, I love the series with Apple. Her name is Trip. Like, she was a tough cookie. Well, what's interesting is, I think sometimes you get certain roles that prepare you for the next role. And remember that play I talked about?
Mm-hmm.
She was such a tough cookie, because I'm soft and like glitter and sprinkles, like I'm all full of joy. And this character was just like, she was a badass. And it was a character that I thought that I would have a lot of difficulties with, and striving through that and actually feeling like I nailed it gave me the confidence to believe in myself when I did get a role like Trip from the Apple series. And I remember getting that script and reading it, and I was like, okay, I think I understand this woman, and it just fit like a glove. And I remember I was so oblivious that whole process of booking my series. I feel like I didn't really know what was going on, which was a good thing for me, because I think I would have panicked if I would have known like the gravity of what was happening. But when I had the producer session, I didn't know that it was the producer session until I got there. I thought it was just a callback. It's like, okay, it's a callback. So when I got there, it was at Paramount, and all the producers were there, and John Chu actually cast me. He directed the first 2 episodes of our series. And he was in the room. I had just saw Crazy Rich Asians it was still playing in the movie theater. And they had cameras, and they put me in, they mic'd me, and I was like, what's going on? I thought this was just a callback. And then when I walked into the room, all of the producers, they stood up, they knew who I was. They were like, Aziza, they shook my hand. And the creator of the show was like, oh my God, I love you so much. You're my favorite. And I was like, okay, and I did my thing. And they were laughing, and it was just, the energy in the room felt so good. And I think when I walked out of the room, I knew, you could just feel it. And then
Aziza, you have a sparkle. You always have had one. Always.
Kimberly.
You have that sparkle, and it's fun.
Uh-huh.
Tell me, what is one of the challenges you had? Like in any role, anything that where you go, oh, and you grew from it or you learned from it.
Whenever I get a character or I'm auditioning for a character, I'm trying to figure out what's their intention or my end. Like, what's my end? If I can't find an end, then I'm confused. I'm like, okay, I'm not understanding what's going on. I need an end. I need a why. Like, what's, so I'm always happy when I am afforded the full script if I'm auditioning for something. But when I do have the script, or I've been given the role, I try to just dig deep to find out like what, like that character, what's their want and need. And I think when I can land what that is, then I try to be as authentic as I can to nurturing that and navigating the story, in a truthful way. When I sit down with the work, I'm like, okay, what's their end? Like, what's their, and the end is always connected to the why.
That's the power of owning the character.
Yeah.
Do you ever use that chapter, owning the character?
Yeah. Yeah. Once you know, like, that character's like ism, their thing, you then step into like, okay, these are the choices that this character will make in this certain circumstance.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like I've said this to class sometimes, that a character is simply an opinion that gets amplified through behavior and connecting internally, and that opinion just expands and completely colors who they are.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really big on the imagined world, like just imagine your imagination. Something that I like to do. I don't know, did we talk about this in class? But I mean, it's so weird. So I have a red light, and whenever I am creating in my mind, I cut that, I go into my room and I turn that red light on and I sit with the script. And it's just something about the light.
Incredible. So you put the light on, and it's kind of like you're in your zone now.
Yeah. And I did it for every single episode on Home Before Dark. We would get the script. I would go into the room. I would turn that red light on. And because it was a mystery, I could see the world. My imagination just lit up. And then I can feel the different emotions that my character was going through. Yeah. And that's a technique. I don't know why it works for me, but it just works. And it was so grounding. Like, it grounds me in a sense as an actor to be able to really believe this world.
Sometimes you have to escape into your own experience to find something. And I think that's sensational. I had an actor who used to go to the beach for his characters. Really? And would just sit on the sand. He would throw a towel over his head so he didn't get too much sun.
You have to listen, whatever you have to do to get in and to be as honest as you can within the character, do it, When
I'm writing, because I also write and I get into my characters, I will run away. Like, I have my phone with me, but I feel like I take a run, like 2, 3, whatever miles. And I feel like nobody can get me. On my phone. I somehow feel like I've escaped.
You get escape. It's an escape. Yeah.
And then I'm out there and I'm in the world now. But I can make some magic, because anything's possible.
Yes, anything's possible. And I think as a writer, like someone once told me, like, when you're a writer, you're basically playing God. If you say the sky is green, then the sky is green, so that's something that I do plan on getting into, some more writing. So I did admire your writing skills, because you would talk about some of the things that you've written in class. And I was always like soaking up all of that knowledge.
My feeling is that when you're writing, for me, it's not God in this way, in that I'm trying to find the character and then the character tells me what's going on. And
Oh.
I discover the material and even the direction of what has to happen. And honestly, I didn't even start to write until I understand the story.
Mm-hmm.
I listen to the character and the character guides me. So it's
You go into a meditation or?
no, it's just, maybe it is. It's just I'm inspired.
Okay.
I use a lot of music. And I tell you guys to use a lot of music.
Mhm.
Music is powerful.
Yeah.
And music can liberate you from the analytical part, or the
Mhm.
part that says this is wrong or whatever. And
Mhm.
I try to say, sometimes the most interesting and most original performance will feel wrong. It will feel wrong, and that wrong then becomes right, because it's stepping outside of those comfort zones. Staying inside the comfort zone is just really bland, boring, and you can't really make magic there. You
Yeah.
have to take a risk to make magic.
Yeah, you have to release the control. I think that is the hardest part, releasing the control, because when you get in your left brain and you get really analytical about the scene, I have to do this and I have to have this moment and that moment, then it's all rehearsed, and sometimes you can see that. But when you just let it go and it's like, you know what, forget it. I'm just going to surrender and be present in the moment and listen. That's something that you talked about a lot, was listening, listening to understand and then respond, instead of pretending that you're listening, or just thinking about your next line because you don't have the confidence that you will remember, or what I mean, whatever it is that the actor goes through that stops, whatever that thing is that stops you from listening. You have to surrender, and it takes you have to be brave to do that. My favorite lesson from you, it was a class where we really went deep, like letting go, like becoming vulnerable. I think that was something that you talked about a lot, is vulnerability, and getting down to the meat of the emotion. And a lot of times, as actors, some of us don't even know how to cry. And and I think that in your class, like, you just walked us through surrendering. And I remember having a moment, I think we were just getting deep in our emotions, and I think we were crying or doing something like that. And there was something that it was a guided class, and you were I can't remember exactly what you were saying, but it unlocked something within me that I didn't even know exist, and I was able to just surrender and be present, and the vulnerability was like there. Like, it was like, oh my God, please. I'm being really vulnerable right now. It's scary, but that taught me that there's so much power in vulnerability, and you need to make sure that I carry that with me whenever I have roles, or finding out what the character's vulnerability is, and then getting past my own insecurities to be vulnerable enough to be able to be honest and play that character well. I would say my biggest lesson from you was being open to vulnerability.
How do you handle resistance? Because I never felt resistance from you, but I'm sure you deal with it. Every actor does. So how do you deal with resistance?
I feel like I still deal with resistance. I go to my tools, and I try to use the tools that I've learned. And if it doesn't work, then I'll walk away from it for a second, and then I'll come back, and I'll just take some deep breaths. And like I said, being present. Like I'll do things like, okay, I'll look at something and I'll focus on it so that I can stay present. And I think about whatever you think about that'll cause that resistance to be there. But resistance is not just in acting. Resistance is in your normal day-to-day life. Sometimes, I get really bold about it. I'm like, you know what? There's a lot of resistance here, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna do it afraid. And when you do it afraid, and at the end of the day, you come out and everything worked out great, it's the best euphoric feeling ever. It's like, oh my God, I was so afraid. There was so much resistance I had towards this. But when I just surrendered and I just said, F it, it turned out being so beautiful. So there's so much magic on the other side of resistance.
Oh my gosh, it's so true. So beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
If you could talk to yourself when you were going through the essence work we were going through and challenges you had, and you could have told yourself something from this place, what would you have told yourself?
Relax. Relax. You got this. I would tell myself. I just didn't, I think when I first got into the class, I didn't feel seen. And when I say seen, it had nothing to do with like within the class, within myself. Like, I'm like, can I make it? Well, they take a look at me. Do I have something special? And knowing what I know now and who I am now, I would just tell myself to relax. And you have it. You have everything you need, girl. Believe in yourself. And the industry is changing and they're making room for little brown Black girls like yourself. And there's so many stories that will be told and you will be a part of the storytelling. So yeah, I'm thrilled to see so many people that look like me now on TV. I'm grateful. I just saw Woman King. Oh my gosh.
I've heard wonderful things.
Viola.
She's.
But just to see Black women, warriors fighting, I had never seen anything like it, outside of Black Panther, which was also like so amazing. I would tell myself that the industry is making room for women like you, and you'll be okay. Relax.
That's great. I'm trying to think of for those that may still not see themselves in the field, you can always be the exception too. You can be the exception.
Absolutely.
And you could be that one because there's so much, there's so many people going after this. You must be the exception.
Yeah. Like just saying to yourself, why not me? And I think it's also, Kimberly, important to have a good tribe of people around you and energy. And just knowing that you can be the exception. Why not? Why not? And I think having that proactive mindset plays a huge role in what comes your way.
Absolutely.
What you attract to yourself, because if you're focused on the negative and focus on all the no's, then that'll just send you into this depression. What's for you will not pass you by. I really am a firm believer in that. Like, I've had a few roles that have passed me by, but it wasn't for me. And when I reflect, I'll tell a quick story. A few months before I booked my series Rag, I was pinned for Big Little Lies. And I love Big Little Lies. And I was like, Meryl Streep is gonna be my friend. And Nicole Kidman, we're gonna be girl. I just thought that, because I was pinned for 4 weeks. They kept me on a very long time. And I just knew that role was mine. And then when I got the call from my manager that they were going to go in another direction, I was devastated. And I was, my dreams of walking on the red carpet are over. Like I was crying. And I remember my friends said, okay, Aziza, I'm gonna give you 12 hours, cry it out, but then you need to get up, know who you are, and don't you have another audition? I said, yes, focus on that next audition because you are special and what's for you will not pass you by. And they were absolutely right. So all the no's just prepares you for your yes. And when you walk into that yes, you're like, okay, I see why I didn't get that other role. I see why this role is for me, you know? So it's a journey and we have to remind ourselves that we are enough, enough. I think it's everything, Kimberly. And I think coming into your class, like you shared with all of us that we were enough. You know, you definitely told me that I had something special. You would always tell me that. And those talks, they help. You know, you need that because we are in an industry where there's so many no's. When you come across someone that is speaking life into you, it's a beautiful thing. And I think that you do that with your students. And not only do you speak life into your students, but you are honest. And if there is improvement to be made, you are focused on helping them reach their highest potential, you know, so that they can keep pushing forward in this industry. And it's a beautiful thing that you do. I think acting with impact is so impactful, you know, it's so meaningful in, you know, in this, it's needed in this world. And I'm grateful for teachers like you. So
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that acknowledgement. That's very, very supportive to me too, because, you know, I feel everything you're saying and that I believe in everything, you know, when I feel I do that. So I'm so grateful that it gets received as much as I feel I'm that attempt. I just love actors, Aziza. And I also love actors that are serious about acting, that are not just like putting their feet in the shallow end. And if you're not serious about it, then I will try to inspire you to be serious about it.
Yeah.
If somebody comes to my door and they've got opportunities coming towards them and they're not rising to those opportunities, they need to hear why, you know? And then just it's fun. It's so much fun. I mean, it's a game. This whole thing's a game. Fun? It's a fun game.
It's a fun game. It's a fun game until it's not funny. You're like, I quit. But no, it's definitely it's a fun game. And it's I feel like a part of, like, when I think about my purpose is to bear witness to the journey. I don't know, you know, what the next 5 years may look like, but I know that I'm going to be okay. And I'll continue my success because I have learned to relax.
I have to tell you how beautiful that is, to bear witness to the journey, because that's what you are as an actor. You're bearing witnesses, revealing, exposing the human condition and the experience. And then we co-experience and we're better for this. Yeah. And so it's vital. Actors are essential. I don't care what they say out there.
Oh yeah. Oh, did you hear Shirley Ralph's her speech at the Emmys when she sang? Like she
oh yeah.
Oh, if that's not for every actor, for every woman, she said that I am an endangered, like when she sang
endangered species.
Yes. But I seen no victim song. I am a woman, I am an artist, and I know where my voice belongs. Oh, it just brought me to tears.
I loved it.
So
I
special.
loved it.
We are so special as storytellers, as writers, as producers,
And I
so
always tell
important.
actors, never, ever, ever experience or think that you're a victim or you're playing a victim. Every character is a survivor, and you are a survivor.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not an interesting story if you play a victim. You must play the survivor.
Oh, yes.
Even when the character is, by the audience's definition, maybe a victim.
Yeah.
Your intention in your work, because it will empower you. What advice can you give to those other actors that are out there that are hoping to be in your position someday?
I would say to don't quit. Don't quit. I think the people that don't obtain, their acting goals are usually the people that give up, because they're convinced that it'll never happen for them. I think that if you continue to work on your craft, continue to perfect certain things within yourself, and also just building the confidence within yourself, what's for you will come your way. Look at it like this. You can be in a position where you're hearing a lot of no's, but little do you know, your next role can still be in someone's computer. It's still being, they're still working on it and developing your character. It's still going through rewrites. While you're like ready to give up, ready to quit, your character is still being rewritten or, worked on. Because when I booked, the role of Trip, they had been working on that for like 3 or 4 years. So I'm sitting here like, will I ever get my shot? And my character was already alive, you know what I mean? Being worked on. So think about that whenever you're ready to give up on yourself. Your next role could just still be on someone's computer, still being worked on, still being developed. I would say
fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic.
Because it's true, Kimberly. It's true. Like a lot of times you want to give up on yourself, and like I'm excited about, I know my next role could already be, waiting for a greenlit, so you never know. It could just be around the corner. Don't give up on you. Don't give up on you. So I would say that to all actors out there that are, entering this big industry that, they don't know where to go, how to start. Just start, relax, and know that you will make it. You will be okay. Your role is just sitting there, it's waiting to be greenlit. So.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell me?
Well, one, it's always a pleasure seeing you. I think you put a lot of positivity in the world. You put a lot of positivity within your students. And I'm grateful to have met you. I'm grateful for your YouTube classes. There are some techniques that you teach online. Very grateful for that. And keep doing all that you do, Kimberly. Your voice is needed.
Thank you so, so much, Aziza.
Thanks for having me.
Aziza Scott. Blessings to you. And I shall see you, I'm sure, soon. Mwah.
Mwah. Thanks, Kimberly.
I'm Kimberly Jentzen. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe.